Nancy.
You want
Let
to?
me, get my clicker here.
Oh, okay.
I'll come up here. Thank you very much for the introduction. Of course, I wrote it. Should be good, huh? First off, I was told, Janet, where are you at? Janet?
Oh,
She in the other room? I have a warrant for her arrest for some tickets. She was asking me earlier. I went ahead and checked it, and she does have a warrant. So, yeah. We just had an inspirational speak with Mario. Was it Mario that spoke?
yeah.
He's in there too? And I wanted to add on to his. He talked about martial arts and karate, and I talked about the sheriff's department and his love for that and what I do. I really like my job. And matter of fact, I'm being told I got to retire, and I don't want to retire. But he missed one thing in the end, and that is he said he couldn't kick anymore, and I think that's a mistake. He now is doing something besides kicking. He's teaching you folks how to kick. And to inspire you to do what you do. It's all applicable in everything we do. The same thing over and over. Be it martial arts, sheriff's business like I do, taking off your hat there, cowboy, and scouting. I'm a really big advocate for the Boy Scouts doing a lot of stuff for their camps at San Gabriel Council and LA Council. I actually run one of their scout camps on Catalina Island on my vacation. So very, very busy. But I want to talk today about, and I hope that's not as blown out on this screen as it is on your real estate fraud. Did you know there was a real estate fraud unit? Did you really know that? Yeah. Well, you're going to find out a little bit more. You've been paying for it, and you've been getting a lot of good results. And it's funded by the Real Estate Fraud Prosecution Trust Fund, which actually is meeting today to decide how much this fiscal year my team is going to get. And where does that money come from? Well, it was established in 1996. The governor signed it in, the board of supervisors approved it, and said, hey, for every time they record a certain document, which, like deeds of trust, there's a $3 fee. And those fees add up. And they fund the detectives that are solely used for investigating real estate fraud. Now, why is that important? There's detectives, there's deputies, there's police officers, and there's just detectives. But when you take and you specialize in detective, that takes a big learning curve. There's a lot of experience, usually 15, 20 years of being a cop, a detective, and investigator. And now you come in there and say, I'm going to send you to real estate school. You're going to learn what escrow is. You're going to learn about everything that has to do with real estate, because you're going to go out and try to find the people that are manipulating the market and taking people's houses and their dreams away and ruining an industry. And that takes a lot of money and time and dedication. I don't want to lose these people. A lot of times they get up there, they get where they get retired, and I got to replace them. So that's what this fund fee, that fee is. So when you see that fee for $3, it's really, when you look at the price of a house, $1 million, what is $3? To have out there the threat that sheriff's deputies and the rest of the task force, which I'll show you, is maybe breathing down their necks. And it's a serious problem. It's not just local folks. This is worldwide threat to your industry right now that's going on. And we'll get into that pertaining to wire and email fraud, how it's hitting your industry. The income to the fund is directly related to the number of real estate transactions per year. So the problem is, for me, you sell a house for $1 million that was 500, let's say, a year ago, I don't make any more money. But if you sell a lot more houses, I make more money. 60% of that money goes to the district attorney, and they split it off. 40% goes to law enforcement, and that's what our meeting is today. How much of the 40% I'm going to get, and how many detectives I get to fund for the year. Right now, it's 3 investigators, 1 sergeant, and 1 volunteer. You may know Ed Navarro, works for Action Escrow. He's very big, a huge asset for our department and other departments now, and he's been guiding us along, and it actually helped me with the presentation that you're going to get in the last half. And we investigate all real estate fraud cases in which a fraudulent instrument was recorded or could be recorded. And we've even started to add things like people that got sucked into loan modifications and foreclosure consulting, because these were huge drains on the industry, and a lot of credibility got wiped out with real estate because of these sharks that were out there taking away money. People wanted their home saved, they had their money stolen. It's a huge county. Think about it. LA County is huge. 3 investigators right now, just with our department, to handle everything you see that's in yellow and all the purples. Those are contract cities that we police for, okay? LAPD is our counterpart. They have 2 investigators that get funded, and they're in the light blue, and then Long Beach and Glendale and Pasadena are part of it too. So you can see the task force is a composite of many different organizations. Not only that, the FBI comes in. With a lot of our cases, we've been taken federally because now we get these people also, if they're not from here, deported. We have, I would say 30% of our cases right now are people that are not here legally, taking money and shipping it away to criminal elements in other countries. A huge drain on our economy. Really a major problem. And we also work with the Assistant U.S. Attorney on their task force. So there's a lot of expertise here. I just want to make sure you understand that you're getting a lot of bang for your buck for $3. You really are. And this is some of the team. We wake up at 4:30 in the morning and we greet some of these criminals. We bring them out and we say good morning. And sometimes they're in their boxer shorts, maybe a blanket, and we say you're going to jail. And at the same time, we've had other people that are suspects that are also attorneys. And as soon as they find out we're there, they're going, you can't do this, you can't do that. And then I have State Bar with me. And why is that important? Because we team up with a lot of people. I'll get to that in a slide. And we don't just go to it us, we take everybody in the industry that's related. The Department of Real Estate, Bureau of Client, all these different entities come together and we have them there with us when we go in and wake people up. So, what is fraud? It's an acronym, right? Well, all fraud is a reward acquired under deception, usually financial, okay? And financial in this market is the big drive. There's a lot of money in real estate. But financial can be a lot of things to different people. So we have to open it up. It can be guns, it can be intel, it can be terrorist activity. What is important to a person is what we call financial. But there's a lot of people we have to be concerned with in the real estate industry. So when we start an investigation, the minute we start it, we spring what we call the web. And we got to be very careful when we spring the web because all these people start being affected and start getting worried. Look at who's up there. Well, do you think notaries get worried? We spring the web and maybe there's a transaction they're worried about or we're part of? Sure. The real estate agent, the brokers, title, everybody gets a little scared. Right? Did I do my job right? Did I get duped? Is my company going to take a hit? Is our insurance going to cover it? What's going to happen? It's huge. But the keys to our success are communication and prevention. That's why I'm here this morning. My teams are already out making arrests this morning on the warrants that we've already filed this week. I come out, I do this, then I go to another meeting. My job is to make sure they get what they want. And this morning I have another sergeant subbing for me, so I don't have to be out there at 4:30 in the morning with my stuff on, which is kind of nice because I can't kick either anymore. But I wanted to show you, we've done some huge cases over in Pico Rivera a few years ago. I don't know if you read about the big debacle with the Save My Homes. It was over in, they were using an industrial track. We brought in everybody, 500 Spanish-speaking victims, duped over a 3-year period. And we got that, and everybody went to prison. You know, it's been very difficult to get people sentenced to prison because of realignment and the governor changing Prop 47. But real estate, it's above $950, generally speaking. And we have people that are usually excessive takers, and they've been doing this in the past. So we usually don't have a problem, especially if they attack an elder. 30% of the cases we do also have elder victims. That's a mandatory prison sentence. All right? So elder victims are pretty important to us. Our team is also cross-trained in elder fraud. We do a lot of speaking. We do a lot of stuff with the media. We want to get the word out. And we have now partnered with the Register Recorder. When something happens, we can get it with 30, 60, or 90 days. We grab the video of them recording at the window. That's huge. It used to be, who did it? I don't know. Now we got them. They can't deny they weren't standing there with the paper as it went across the counter. You did it. We got you on video. Here's your offer. You don't want to take an offer? You're going to trial. You don't want to go to trial? Then jail versus prison. It's your choice. We just keep upping the ante as we go. So we have partnerships with law enforcement, the district attorney, the Department of Consumer Affairs. This county has its own Department of Consumer Affairs. You guys, if you have problems, tell victims to go and call them. They cross-network with us. A lot of times that's where we get our cases, not from people walking into a police station. We get it from the Department of Consumer Affairs. Register Recorder's Office, the DRE, and the assessors. I know they've spoken here in the past. They're huge. We see a lot of assessor fraud going on too. And the State Bar. Can you believe there's bad attorneys out there? Any attorneys in here? Gotta be so careful. Like when I speak with LAPD, I gotta be careful. Anybody from LAPD, you know? But we get along with LAPD. And then private industry. And you know, when I first started this way back, you know, the other sergeants, they were like, we don't deal with this. But this is now our crux. This is it. We need to get title and escrow, and notaries, and the media, and public outreach, and real estate groups. you know, we've got to get people telling us, because we want to play. We don't like going after what's happened. We want to get it as it's happening. I've dressed up and gone in as a notary and actually had them do the signing, and then we have our teams cuff them, and then we get the outsiders and we get the other locations. On the one we went in, they networked to another loc, we worked with the FBI, and when they went into that loc, there was 7 simultaneous locations being frauded because of the one we did in San Bernardino that linked to a La Mirada property. So, networking is huge with our business. So, I want to talk today though about this, and this is pertaining more to you. I'd love to tell you stories about crime cases and you have to go, ooh, I heard this story. But I want to talk about something that's really hurt you guys. Fraudulent wire instructions and emails in real estate transactions. The Department of Business Oversight, the DBO, reported that over the first 3 months of this year, $1.3 million in trust funds have been stolen from those escrow licensees because of this. That's just the first 3 months. An escrow officer of a title company in Michigan received emailed wire transfer instructions from the listing agent on behalf of the seller. 5 days later, the escrow officer receives another email from the listing agent stating that the seller's bank account had been compromised and the wire should be redirected to a credit union in Boston. Red flags, folks. They should be going up, okay? The email contained new wire transfer instructions. Big red flag. The escrow agent failed to notice the email address was slightly different from the agent's real email address. So guess what he did? He didn't see it, and he transmitted $96,000 to the bank account reflected on the emailed instructions. Gone. All right? Happening every day, folks. We're going to tell you what to do about it. $1.5 million in cyber heists. What we call these things cyber heists also. Against a California escrow firm earlier this year, has forced the company to close and lay off its entire staff. Meanwhile, the firm's remaining money is now tied up in court-appointed state receivers. All right? Lawsuit against the bank to recover the stolen funds. The FBI is saying that the majority of what's going on now is, well, they don't know who is behind it, but because here's the problem. Local, in the United States, California, LA County, we all have jurisdictions. But when something goes out of the state, out of the United States, the jurisdiction kind of then goes, who's got it? Interpol, FBI, what other law enforcement agency in that country, do they even honor what we're talking about? But guess where the majority of them are going to? They're going to companies based in, and I hope I say it right, Hylawayne? Thank you. I was sitting there last night and Ed said, Dana, don't worry about it. Everybody in the room's going to help you on this. In the province People's Republic of China, which is located near the Russian-Chinese border. And he went further and he said, Dana, it's important. You need to tell them that the Chinese port cities, and you'll have to help me with these, Reho, Huan, Ixi, is that silent, Jay? I don't know. But the official names of the companies also include words like economic and trade and LTD. Well, I asked them, do the victims usually see that? Well, yes and no. But you need to know that these are common things that criminals are doing to make themselves look legit. Okay? Legitimacy. That's what they want to look like. They want you to bite the hook. So the recipient, and they usually hold accounts with the Agricultural Bank of China, the Industrial Commercial Bank of China, and the Bank of China. So my question was, well, doesn't the Chinese government know what's going on? Don't they care? He says, they don't. I said, well, what about the other countries? They don't care either, the majority of them. All right? They don't. It's about money. What did I say with fraud? What did fraud mean? Let's come back to fraud. What is fraud? Financial. I got your money.
Acquired.
You know? It's like a cakewalk. Got 5 chairs, 6 people. Music stops. Someone's not getting a chair. Right? Take a chair away. Someone's going to get a cake. 5 others are not. Okay. So, funds are wired but never received. Okay? This is what's happening. This is happening. As Ed was on the phone with somebody in Orange County 2 or 3 weeks ago, we spoke in Santa Clarita. As he's talking, one of his associates on another line is going, this company just got hit and they lost like 1.3 million. At one point they managed to get back 800,000 of it because they stopped part of the wire. I mean, it's happening as we speak. Okay? So, most dangerous time of an escrow. Transferring of funds. Everybody agree with that? Yeah. So buyer to escrow. Are we vetting the buyer? And is that buyer secure? What is vetting? I mean, we checking. We really know who we're dealing with. And that's with you guys. You guys know in your industry who you're really dealing with. Are you going ahead and taking opening what do you want to call them? I don't know, cases. What do you call them? Listings? You call them contracts, are you doing them face-to-face? Or are you doing them because some guy called you and says, well, I'm out of state, and I can't be there, and I'd like you to, help me sell my grandmother's house or my wife's house, and all the story starts. Out-of-state calls, folks, you need to be really red flag on that, okay? Then we get transferring of funds with title to escrow. Now, generally speaking, this is usually a pretty protected and secure area. And I know title's here, and there's a lot of things going on, especially with recording and electronic recording and all the things that are going into place in that area that are making our transactions a little bit more secure in this arena. Okay? So title's on board. Why should title be on board? Why do you think title is on board with making themselves secure? Because they're going to pay out. Yeah, they're huge. That's what they do. They don't want to pay out. They want to make money, just like we all do. Transferring of money, escrow to seller. Huge area, folks. Does the escrow always vet the seller? Do we? You really always check. These are basic principles. Go back to basic principles. It means going back and making people meet with you face-to-face and a handshake maybe. And get away from the cell phone and all that other stuff that we've gotten so used to doing, the electronic ease of what we do. So who's targeted? Escrow companies, real estate agents, title companies, buyers and sellers. Everybody gets targeted, okay? So how are we targeted? And you know what? You could be targeted right now. You could have people working in your office and you don't even know it. They get on a site, they get an email, they get something they clicked on social media, whatever they've been doing, and the minute they click and it says, well, you don't want this, click off, that's the signal that put it on your system. The minute it goes on your system, your computer now is being taken over and things are being launched in your system. And it allows people to then watch or see what you're doing, even compromise your email. Your email then gets used to say, do this. Wire 1.5 mil. And you didn't do it. The crook did it. Okay? These are things you got to be careful. So we need to be careful of the viruses, the malware, the search engines, the emails, hijacking, or the hacking and social media. And social media is it, bro. Everybody's got that cell phone going. I mean, I drive down here and, if I had a ticket book, I'd be out of it within a mile. Everybody's driving like this. I go to the red light, there's green, and I'm honking the horn almost every time because and there's miles between them because everybody's looking at their cell phone. So methods of prevention. How do we stop this? Antivirus malware is now your best friend. You've got to rescan your stuff. You've got to renew this malware antivirus software. And you need to update your antivirus definitions. You've got to do it, folks, because as soon as you do it, people are reintroducing new things. You've got to keep your system up to date if you're using electronic stuff. If you're still using a typewriter and snail mail, that's fine. You're probably not getting ripped off as much because of the mail cut part. But if most of us, what are we doing? Are we electronic? Yeah. Otherwise, we lose the sale. Limit social media exposure. Well, you got to be careful. There's a lot of fake sites out there that really look, the right like it's yours. Encryption. This is the old Enigma machine. Ed took a slide and shoved it in there that they used to decode during the war. We can also prevent others from reading our message by some of these same things that are offered to make your stuff more encrypted. Okay? Please check your encryption. Make sure your wireless systems are properly secured so somebody can't be on your system also at the same time. Lock them out. Additional preventive methods. When sending emails, avoid key phrases like wire transfer. They're looking for these. When they search, they put the search in, they're looking for you to say wire transfer, money, dollar signs, dollar amount, and bank information. The minute they get that, you're now their target. They now know that you're dealing with something they want, money. Okay? So, instead, use generic terms. The information is attached. Here's what you requested. Okay, so if they're using a search engine, they're not going to be looking for this. They're looking for money. Okay? Use your phone. Call and verify. If you're going to deal with something, please call and verify. Check it out. Implement handshake procedures. Ed said this has got to come back. You've got to start meeting with people and shaking their hands and quit this virtual internet, virtual. There's escrow offices right now that you think are an office. We go there. It's nothing. It's a virtual office, folks. If mail may be on the floor, there's nobody there. There may be 20 different virtual escrows out of the same address. All right, and there's nothing there for us to search. And so it's, a lot of things are changing. Fax machines are making a comeback. They really are. Please. Yeah, well, there's serious, when in doubt, fall back on what works. Cashier's checks. I know we go, ooh, but at the same time, because there could be counterfeit, right? That was a big issue. Everybody's making their own checks, okay? But at the same time, there's a float time on a cashier's check, maybe a little bit, or maybe you're going to meet, or they got to come to you. But on a wire transfer, is that instantaneous?
Yes.
Yeah. Oops, I made a mistake. That's not the same. It's gone. Gone, folks. In fact, fax to email. In some instances, faxing may add additional security. You got built-in fax, use it, okay? These are just some ideas, okay? So Ed says the human error factor. We have to, or the human element factor, or the human, I call it human error, he calls it human element, is to educate, train, and be aware. It really is, okay? We've got to do what you're doing today. You've got to get together, you've got to talk, you've got to share ideas, you've got to spotlight, you've got to inspire, get yourself working as a team, and you've got to also protect yourself because it's your industry. If it's gutted, then all the other industries that are here, title, lenders, and appraisers, and all the other people that are involved, they're all depending on you, okay? There's only so many cars coming out of that lot, and it all depends on everybody doing their job to get the car out to get to the lot to sell it, okay? If we stop and we're missing windshields, we don't produce cars, all right? Disclaimer, Ed loves this part. He says, there are no guarantees in life. There really isn't. I listen to talk shows and people on TV, and everybody thinks that because they live in the United States or California, there's a guarantee that they're going to be given what they don't have to worry about. They're going to be guaranteed. There is no guarantee, folks. There really isn't. If you search hard enough, you can find exceptions to the rules. We see that every day. We see that every day in court. Exceptions to the rules, and they will hammer it, and they will extend us out as long as they can. And thank God the jury systems a lot of times, most of the time, see it, and we prevail. But we had a judge recently that I don't think he knew real estate, and he didn't understand that people involved have to put up some money, earnest money, and he was like, oh, I don't see the crime here, and he let the suspect go after 3 years of investigation. We got his crime partner during the jury. Guess what the jury said? Where's the other suspect? Can't talk about that. He should have been there. I think the judge erred. But there's a lot of other factors there. The system is what it is. We have to work with it. I can't go home at night and be upset over it because I've got too many other cases. All right? But I do feel bad as an investigator. 3 years. That's a long time. There is no magic bullet. And technology changes and fraud follows. As fast as technology changes. It's like we get a fire, we get something major, and the next day there's already fraudsters doing stuff to the people that were affected by the fire. I mean, they're just sharks. They're out there, piranhas or leeches. They will change and do whatever they do. They'll hit you. They will make you feel bad that that you are saying, no, I can't send any more money. Oh, you have to. They will make you want to give them more. And then we go to some of these places, we do the search warrants, and you're not the only victim we find out when we go in. There's 20, 30 others. And they're all doing the same thing. They've got scripts in front of them what to say to each one. They're con artists, and they're very good at what they do. So, our end product is this. We take people to jail. And not only do they go to jail and get booked, we want to make sure they get prosecuted and get sent to jail or prison. And restitution to the victims. And the property, because of the new law 2 years ago, gets put back the way it should have been. Right? What do we call that? Cleaning the title. Right? Quiet title action. That's required now. When we file, district attorney has to do the list pendants and make sure the quiet title action. And our next notch is especially on elders, is that they get restored. So the assessor gives them back their Prop 13 benefits so they don't get tax assessment again. These are all huge concerns that a lot of people don't think about. But when a suspect takes away an elder's home, they lose the home, they lose their benefit if they get it back of their tax protection. And that's huge to an elder, okay? And the family. Many of these elder victims are also with mental capacity issues too. They don't even understand what's happening. They've trusted these people. And sometimes they're family members. That's the unfortunate part. Very sad. So our motto is the buffalo, we charge into the storm. The buffalo is one of the only animals that when the storm is coming, doesn't retreat. It goes right through it, knowing that as soon as I get through it, I'm clear of it, I'm on the other side. And it keeps on going, sometimes over a cliff. But it does keep going. So, that's my information, and I'm now opening it up to questions, because I was told I had 20 minutes. Don't go over, you're cutting my donut time.
When they tried to do this to me, I went to my local police department. They said they can't do anything because I went to a bank in China. Who are they gonna
Okay.
after?
On real estate, was it a real estate transaction? The transaction didn't affect the title.
Well, no, I caught it.
You caught it. And so yours actually is an attempt grand theft.
Right.
That could have been written that way. I don't know what agency it was. Please don't take Temple City.
No,
Monterey Park, thank you. So Monterey Park decided they didn't want to take it. So I'm going to tell you this with police agencies. Now, it's sheriff, whatever it is. You know, you get the kid at the counter, and he doesn't maybe understand what you're talking about. Because he's a kid. Explorer, intern,
I talked to the
you
police.
know, then maybe you get a deputy that's sworn or a police officer that's supposed to know it, or maybe you get a detective, or you get their sergeant. But you know what, folks, if you're not happy with service anywhere, what do we usually do? If you weren't happy with a bad car, what would you do?
Take it back.
You take it back. And you say, I want to talk to the person that sold it, and then I want to talk to your manager, I want to talk to the owner, right? And if I have to, I'll do a class action suit. You need to do the same thing with the police department. A lot of times, they just don't, the person you're talking to doesn't understand it. They'll say, oh, that sounds civil. You guys need to work out an agreement, right? But there was a crime. There was an underlying crime. You had an attempt. Now, you didn't lose it, so here's what happens. If they're not really worried about looking at how they maybe prevented a crime, if you saw it, you know, they're missing that part of it. But if you had lost the money, you would have been a report. But the bottom line is, would they have gotten it back? Probably not, because when money goes offshore, like it does there, it goes to a foreign bank. And we probably are not going to get it back. But those leads, when we add them all together, especially with computer search warrants, they take us to who's doing it. So we may not get yours, but we're going to get the guy that's maybe doing 50 others when we wake them up in the morning. And we uncover this huge scam. So yours is the breadcrumbs that lead us to it. And that's unfortunate that Monterey Park didn't take that. It really is. Because those breadcrumbs are what we depend on. And we need once a month to talk about this.
Well, it looked very legitimate because it came from the bank.
Sure does. It's called email phishing. Phishing is a form of making it look legit. I've had elders get something from Discover. They don't even have a Discover account. And they respond and give all their personal information. And I'll go, why did you do that? You don't even have a Discover account. It looked official. And I trusted them. A lot of elders trust people. They still do. There's that whole generation of trust. They don't lock their cars. They don't lock their houses. And you can't do that anymore, unfortunately. Yes, sir.
I work in title, and we've seen quite a bit of fraud happen. We had this one situation, and it was before we took it as an insurable property.
Right.
This gentleman was researching this property for one of his clients, and the client had signed it over, and it was put in the name of a trust that was the same name as the street.
That's a very common street trust we call them, yeah.
Okay.
And that's a
So-
good thing usually.
So we couldn't do anything about it, and he said that, we suggested that he go to the sheriff's department. This, of course, I think this was in Riverside, and they haven't been able to, I guess they haven't been able to resolve it because the person who put it in the trust is now jailed.
Yeah, with trust, just so you understand, where's the trust kept? We have a lot of problems when we do trust cases. A lot of times people come and say the trust has been changed. And we'll go, okay, well, who's got a copy? Well, I've got my copy. Well, where's the new copy that you're saying that they say that they have? Well, it's usually an attorney has it, or somebody's got the family. So we have to do a lot of search warrants to find the supposed copy that they were flashed at a hospital at the bedside or something. Trusts are, you know, it's kind of a, they'll say, put it in a trust, you're safe. Yeah, but the trusts have learned how to supersede those things and make themselves beneficiaries. We're seeing that too. Beneficiary of a trust. And I have those slides in here. I didn't want to, but we've been doing that. That's how we've been getting them. But we just had a guy fleet out up here in this area, Temple City. We got him on 5 properties. These were all elders. They got notices in the mail from the registered recorder's office saying, your house just recently was agreed to a trust with, and the beneficiary listed here. They were all frauded. These houses were free and clear. We're waiting. The suspect has to go back for the pleading now to find out, why did you do this? It's part of the condition for his plea. Because we're still trying to figure out, was he setting them up? Maybe they're going to pass away. He was just going to jump on it because he only did his research. There's no family. Was he waiting? Because you don't have to always record. You can wait to record. Or was it a landmine to go in and maybe later get a hard money lender and dupe them, which ultimately dupes you folks? And that's where it's at right now, hard money lenders. Traditional lenders, are they really lending right now?
They're tougher.
They're tougher. But who's out there right now wanting to do flipping and making money? Hard money lender brokers and their people. So there's a lot of that going on.
Yeah.
But the smart people that do that, they also want to get title insurance. So that's how we have a good rapport right now with the big, well, we call it the big four, and on all the subsidiaries. We do a lot of back and forth. I get a lot of those cases from Aaron Bryan straight over, and American Trust, First American, I mix them all up. And we've actually been putting notices out in the industry to say, we call them fraud notices to stop. Folks, I know you're all competitors, but you all need to understand, it's like Equifax, TransUnion, and Experian. We know you're all competing, but you need to all be looking because these fraudsters don't care. They're going to hit you all. And as soon as they get away from yours, they're going to go to yours. And they're going to go shopping. And they keep shopping. And they'll change counties because they know there's offices in different counties. So it's very convoluted, very complex, very mobile. You said Riverside County. We work with Riverside. They have a very good task force in Riverside funded. They get $10 a document. They have a huge force.
They were the ones that helped us do a sting operation on somebody who posed as a hard money lender, as an escrow.
They're very good. And we work with San Bernardino and several of the other counties. We all come together. We're all funded by the same initiative. Do you have a question, sir?
I don't know if it's pertaining to this or not, but calls coming in from the IRS.
I'm on the question. Yeah, the IRS, the question is this. The question is, the calls coming from the IRS, we're getting a little bit away, but it's happening in the industry. I can make it that you didn't pay, or go to jury duty, that you didn't do this, I'm coming over with my team to arrest you, you didn't pay your taxes on the IRS, and they're robocalls now. I'm getting them, we're all getting them. I mean, I've done a thing that's called, it's on Aspire. If you go online and you type my name, Sergeant Dana McCant, with Aspire, you'll see a whole thing about IRS scams. And I had some articles written in the Whittier and different Star News. But there's a lot of stuff going on with scams. Scams are always evolving. When they burn out IRS, it'll be something else.
I just had yesterday.
Yeah, just ignore it. I'm just telling you, ignore it. You get a letter from the IRS, folks. Official letter. Believe me, when the IRS wants you, they'll come get you. You had a question?
I have a question with the elder abuse. Do you work with, we have, sadly, there's realtors in our industry that prey on seniors and not representing them the best, in the sense that they'll double in, talking to selling them a home. Do you work with that as well?
Yes, we do. And the elder fund team is actually funded, it's 3 decades, no funding, but the sheriff has actually allocated money of his budget towards that along with the sergeant. They are part of the forensic center, which meets weekly, which is also in that same group, very similar to what we do, is APS, the district attorney, but all the people that are related to elder fraud all meet every week, and all the agencies come in and they can talk. Now, why is that important? Because you know that if you suspect elder fraud, a bank, real estate, whatever, a nurse, a doctor, a police officer, anybody can call the number. It's toll free in LA County, whatever county it has, and you tell them what it is. They'll take your name as the informant. It's protected by law. It cannot be divulged in the follow-up, only by the detective who needs to ask you something. And what happens is it starts an investigation, and that's how we find a lot of elders we meant to target or find out who's targeting them. And that's how we start those kind of cases. We have a lot, we have probably right now the 2 that are working, they probably have 15 plus cases each with real estate fraud right now going with suspected elder abuse involved and manipulation by people. Some of those unfortunately are people in the industry. So, yes or no?
2 questions. First of all, do not code.
This will be the last one.
Okay.
Do not code is still working.
The what is?
Do not code.
Do not call. Do not call.
They just, yes and no.
Yeah, yes and no. They had a thing where that kind of got out of the way, and now I'm getting barraged again phone calls. You know what? I've gotten to the point, kind of like my son and my mother, she doesn't even want to use her landline. They just go cell phone. And that was pretty protected because you can block cell phones. But the cell phones are getting hit now too. And I'm getting calls from all over the country. I'm going to tell you on phone calls. When in doubt on a phone call, and I would do this with your industry also, and you're not sure what's going on, you're getting hit, and the number shows up, Google it. I'm gonna tell you, when you Google it, guess what you're gonna find? This is part of a scam, IRS scam, and it's gonna say 50, 60, 300. They're all gonna be listing that the same person called them with the same pitch. When you get a call and you got a pause going before you even hear it start to talk, get ready. It's a robocall. Now they know you're on the phone. You didn't hang up. It didn't go to an answer machine. You're now on the hook. And they're
Wow.
going to finish the line, right? So those are ones you need to watch. But when you get the number and you got it show up and you're getting hit and hit and hit, you don't have to know anybody in Albuquerque and Washington, D.C., you Google it and you're going to find it's a fraud.
Thank you so much, Sergeant McCant.